happens when you're impatient is the person starts to lie to you about where they are.
Start to pretend.
Yes, they start to pretend.
Just to please.
Misplaced, but the biggest thing we lost there was time. So as much as we've had 13 years of marriage, probably the percentage of happiness there is not the whole 13 years, you know what I mean? And when you think about it, thankfully happiness is always charming. But we've avoided all the other stuff.
I love the time.
I mean, the last time we were having this conversation, we talked about the fact that he would have gone to set apart earlier had I not been so controlling about it, And I remember when I was saying earlier that the Holy Spirit clearly told me to share it. When I did, is when he was starting to find interest in the project, starting to find interest in mentorship, when I stopped talking about his drinking problems, drinking stopped being a problem. You know what I mean? I stopped glorifying the mistakes. I stopped glorifying the problems. And one thing he's actually not saying is we wasted 3 years in our marriage trying to forgive.
That's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time.
Failing to forgive for 3 years.
For 3 years.
Because, but you didn't even realize that.
No, it didn't even seem like 3 years had gone by. It's only now when we look back and see
that this thing was an issue in our marriage for that long.
Years.
So,
this is why I love what he says about the devil stealing time efficiently from us. We spent too much time worried and making things about us in the relationship. He made things about himself. I made things about myself.
Spend a long time trying to figure out what is he getting up to.
Going through
so you
his
can
phone,
imagine how
trying
much
to find
time
out what's happening in his life. Why doesn't he do this? Why don't I do that? And that was just wasted time that we will never get back.
Longer time trying to prove myself. When I did finally change, now I wasted so much time trying to prove that I am a changed man. I'm not going to go and sleep out for 3 days. I'm here. Please hear me, woman of God.
Wasn't it frustrating and
it was very frustrating. But I also now had to get to that place where, why was I doing it? Was I doing it for the affirmation? Or was I going back to God and saying, God, I'm doing this because you said I should do this? Because what is most important is my relationship with you. In the relationship, that's equally very valuable to me. You will take care of it. So when I began to just not focus on those complaints, focus on the relationship with God, I realized that we started having a conversation that I yearned for a very long time, and we started having those conversations. Look, on this day, you did this, and it has been an issue for me, and I could now finally hear
her.
Yes, because I couldn't hear. Even when we had those discussions earlier, I wasn't hearing because we never created a safe place where both of us could hear each other.
And that's where we have a challenge, right? Because we think over repeating
stuff is what will get the job done.
Like if I yell at him,
I'll just be very honest with you. I hate. Give you a chance to process, make a plan, and give you back feedback. Yeah.
We want you to process right here, right
I
now.
work like that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
It's
no,
something that you learned as well, right?
Oh
Not to-
yeah, I learned the hard way. Like I mean, the Holy Spirit had to get to a place to tell me, you need
Shut
to
up.
shut up. You talk too much.
Oh.
He's like, I remember this season where I was constantly going through his phone,
Ooh.
and I
And
remember
what were you looking for? Like a certain number?
I was looking for whatever it is I thought was happening. And you know, I remember the Holy Spirit clearly saying, Fungi, I've already told you what's happening. You don't, what are you trying to do? You doubt me? You're going through his phone? Like, I've already told you. And you know what the sad thing is? And I want to say this to my sisters who love,
Please.
is I went through his device. But guess who has the burden of remembering those text messages? Of remembering those images? It's me. I have that burden. I had that burden for a long time. You know,
When I asked for forgiveness, no. Left me now. I was a free man.
Oh my God.
The moment she said, I forgive you, I said, hallelujah.
Praise the Lord.
but
So
who
let's
had the
move on.
burden?
And the pictures.
You know?
They were in my mind.
You had to deal with
For
them.
years. Now I had to deal with unreading all those text messages. And I
that's-
personally don't think that's the plan. The Holy Spirit is not the one whispering, go through his phone.
It's the devil.
Wait for him to sleep, then go through his phone. Because that's when we do it. I would wait 2 a.m. Let me wait for him to pass out.
And I'd wake up at 3 as if someone just told me, bruh, it's getting real.
It's going down.
Open your eye for a bit, you're like, "Oh, guys, it's 3 a.m. I'm even going to work at 7. We start this conversation now. We'll start going through it. And some conversations were not even like I was doing it, but they were probably inappropriate conversation, whatever.
Yes, but you were answerable, right?
Yes, I was answering.
So to wake you up at
Not telling me,
03.
and I'm up at 03. Now, it's no longer even about that WhatsApp message. Now, let's go back 7 years back now.
Yes.
We go to the
When you
real
started,
beef,
You know?
So what about that?
And you know, with us women,
Sorry, and then at 6 it's like I'm going nowhere.
Oh
my
my
guy, let me at least sleep an hour.
And you know what? I'd even be upset. This is serious that you're going to wake up. Call your boss, tell him that you're sick. You need to deal with this.
Like agent.
My old self, I never tolerate this
Okay.
conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Because the moment she'd start that, I could just get my car keys and I would leave. Whether it's 1 in the morning,
You'd go away.
3 out, I would find somewhere to go. As long as I don't have to continue that conversation.
You need that peace.
I want peace,
Great.
I wouldn't even.
I clearly remember there's an incident where I found some messages in his phone. So what I did is, after I cracked his password, I emailed the messages to my email from his WhatsApp chat. I sent them to my email so I could read them nicely. So if he woke up, he wouldn't catch me with his phone.
Okay.
I'd be on the laptop. His phone would be right there. So while I was going through, I was so upset and so full of rage, and then I waited. I said, let me finish all these messages. And then after that, I waited a bit. Then I started. I'm sorry, but it's so funny when I look at myself now.
Yeah.
I can't help but laugh. And then he wakes up. He's like, baby, what's wrong? Is the baby coming? Is the baby coming?
He's in trouble.
Angie, he's in trouble.
Oh my goodness. So before we conclude, and now we've talked about this drama and stuff like that. Like, let's talk about now how you work together now. You're doing a lot of amazing stuff. Today you're just doing your shoots. I know in almost everything you're working together, right?
Yeah.
Just briefly talk about that, what you're up to now, how you support each other, how you love each other, and then, you can give us your last words.
You want to go first?
I'll be pleased. Well, we are content creators. We've got our company called Marvel James Creation.
Marvel James. Woo, look it up. Look it up.
Please,
Let's start.
like the page.
Like the page.
We are into social media management, content creation, and we believe in content that changes the narrative.
Wow.
So we believe that the only content we're creating is one that glorifies God. So we love telling stories through video, picture, but stories that can change someone's perspective about whatever topic is out there. So that's probably our biggest current project amongst others. We work together.
Let's tell us a little bit more how you support. Tell us a little bit more about how you've been supporting her.
So she's the in front of camera. I'm the behind the camera kind of guy. Love to make sure that the scripts are ready. She will ask me whether she's doing fine in front of the camera and give her those tips. I'm trying to help her just get her content for that particular thing she's creating come to life. So basically producing to some extent. But even in working together, we've struggled working together as well. And I've also had to learn a few things that even in support, know how far to go in the support. Sometimes my support might just be listening in on the project she wants to do, but not actively being involved in the project. And it lets that project come to life and become the thing it's supposed to be. Earlier on, I used to think support was everything, but I must be there, but I realized that those are even began to frustrate us when we're working together, even if it's a good deal. And there are things that I would want demanding the support but I realize some things we don't necessarily have to work together. She needs to know about this and give me her expert advice and guidance on whatever it is, and I listen, but she doesn't need to be part of it. Even if I strongly wanted to, because in the end, that's why we have a lot of creative clashes and unnecessary time-wasting arguments.
And on top of that, I wanted to also find out about the kids. You said you have 3 beautiful children, and she's been bragging about how you're a good dad. Like, how have you been able to, like, as a man, sometimes people have, like, you talked about changing the narratives, because people talk about, man can't take care of the kids and so on, and I think, so she was bragging about that, so I want you to also share with us, like, how you've been supporting her, even with the kids.
Oh, yeah, well, I love dad. And I think every dad I've met love. So I find it strange when I hear women say that's not what men do.
Wow.
I'm a man, so I have no problem spending time with my child. Yeah, I might not be an expert. There's a certain kind of mommy training that is not in our DNA. But I've always been hands-on dad. Change the diapers as long as there's milk. I'll be up also at 2 a.m. trying to put the baby to sleep. And
really fun, guys.
And the older they've gotten, I love having conversations with my kids, getting to know what's happening in their lives, how they are growing. It's my desire to be preferred. I would love my children always prefer to have a conversation. No matter how hard that conversation is going to be, but I would love that. And it's something like earlier we spoke about my situation with my mom. I didn't make her the preferred way, and ultimately she raised me in a way that should always be that preferred. So I think as a father, it's important to be the preferred option in the home for my wife, for my kids. And so that's what I yearn to do on a daily basis. So I'm trying to keep in change with my daughter's music these days. So that it doesn't catch me by surprise.
Those parents now.
So I have to realize that she's growing. She's not going to be that little baby I had. And then my son is this talkative boy. I don't know what time he started talking so much, and has his own mind and not always going to agree with. We have conversations where he disagrees and he's for, disagrees with what I'm telling him. I don't think that's correct. But we love our children to have their own opinion.
And also just allowing them to go through their own process. Because, we're Christians and our daughter is 30. She's not going to listen to Christian theology. She's going to listen to secular music.
We won't listen to Christian music.
I feel like it's important for us to know what secular she's getting involved in, for us to know what she's listening to as well, and not completely switch off and say, you're not supposed to listen to this because it's not bad. Because the honest truth is, we are not with her 24/7.
Yeah.
She goes out there into the world and she's told different things by different people. And as you remember being a teen, it was so easy for you to believe what your friend said over what your mother said. I think we want to allow a safe environment for our daughter to decide that, okay, I've listened to this music and I've listened to this, but what's more edifying? I don't want to be the one to tell her this is more edifying, and then she tries to experiment with something else and she finds out the hard way. I would rather she makes that decision for herself. We would rather she makes the decision for herself.
So we want to create a place where she understands what or where that kind of content is created for what purpose. And hopefully by us clear choice, she makes the decision on which path we should go.
Which path is there? Because ultimately, as parents, we really are guardians. We are there to guide them as they grow up. Their decisions are their own. And I think we've come to a place where we realize that we need to feed them the right food, but from time to time they'll get junk from friends and peers who are outside. We didn't even know that she liked a particular hip-hop song until we heard her sing it while she was washing the dishes. And we're like, oh girl, where you know that song from? We're not like, hey, we don't want to hear that music in our house. No. And allowing her to be able to express herself and say, no, I heard this from a friend, and we ask her, so what do you like about this song? And then she's able to say, no, I actually like the beat. I'm like, okay, but have you heard the lyrics? What is it saying?
So helping her understand.
So for us, that's what's important, is helping our kids understand. And also, even when we are not there, it's not
difficult. I was watching a movie.
Well, before we dive deep in that, I can have you forever. Because I wanted you to share more about. He shared his side about what you guys have been up to, like how he's an amazing dad, blah 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 blah. How have you been able to enjoy your marriage? With his support, his love, and so on.
Well, right now, I can honestly say that after 13 years of marriage, we are easier people to live with. I'm at a place where I'm okay with whatever season we're in. Yes, it's going to be hard. They're going to be hard seasons, and they're going to be much easier seasons. But the most important thing for us is going back to communication. How do we interact? How do we talk to each other about the season that we're in? How do we come to an agreement about particular things? How can I say I don't like this without hurting his feelings? And that's what's really worked for us, to be honest with you. I don't want to lie to you. We don't even have fights. No. We
just
talk. Even if it's something I don't understand, rather than making an assumption, I'll just ask and say, hey buddy, what's this? I came across this. You care to share more? Are you ready to share more? I think it's also about that. So
within or in less than a minute. Yeah. So I want you to look in the camera and just speak to a wife out there who's watching us. What one thing you want them to get out of this whole amazing story that you have?
One of the most profound things that I learned about being a wife is how important it is to trust God in everything you do. And trusting God is not just about saying, I trust God, it's about showing it in your actions. So there are going to be seasons where God is going to ask you to be quiet and where He's going to ask you to speak up. Be very sensitive to His voice and to just hear what He has for you in that season. It's so, so important. And most importantly, be patient with yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. No one became a master wife overnight. It is an ongoing process. I may be married for 13 years, but I'm still getting to know my husband all over again. Every new year, we step into our anniversary, And it is so important for you to forgive yourself and to forgive as often as possible. The more you forgive, the less a burden you carry, and the more you are graced with peace. So for me, that is my last.
Thank you, Mr. Marongas.
For me, I want to just say that, look, marriage is work, but it is a beautiful thing.
Wow.
You are never going to know it better than the Creator. So you're better off going back to the Creator so that you can get that blueprint of what this thing is called. But it's a beautiful thing. But you can't know it better than the Creator. iPhone, Android, iPhone, Samsung. I can own any of those devices, but I can't know it better than Apple, who created the device. So it is important to always refer back to the manufacturer. So for me, I feel also as a man, it's going to equally be have a little extra work to put in because you are in charge of a whole lot of destinies. Not only your wife's destiny, but your children's destiny. It's your job to ensure that these destinies are preserved, and this is why priesthood was entrusted with us. So it's important to be the priest in the home, do everything you can to ensure that God is always in your home. The time that we had chaos, like my wife has said, she's learned to have peace even in chaos. It's because I discovered that as long as God lives in my house, chaos doesn't matter.
Wow.
We will be just fine. It will eventually clear out. But because I had no God in my house, chaos was prevailing with all sorts of other things. So, to my brothers out there, I guess the most important thing that I'll definitely say is go to the manufacturer. That's the best place. That's where you are going to get a guarantee on your product. The only one who can replace it for you, the only one who can restore it for you, the only one who can equally make you something to your specifications. So that's probably the most important thing that I have.
Wow, there you have it. Oh my goodness, I have so much also to learn from you guys. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for sacrificing this time to just feature. I want to assure you that this story of yours, the story of grace, is going to impact, it's going to transform a lot of lives across the world. And I wish you guys all the best. I pray that God will continue to increase you. God will continue to take you to nations. God will fill your marriage with so much in love. And even those years that you wasted, I pray that there will be a restoration. One of the stories in the Bible I like is the story of Naomi. God didn't really give her back the children, but He restored so much that she looked at the restoration and said, oh my God, this is actually 7 times better. Or 7, sons more than one, like 2 that she had. So I pray that will be a story. So thank you so much. There you have it. This was Married and Mastering, and I pray that you'll be transformed. I pray that your marriage will never be on the same level. Thank you so much. It's been your girl Red Rose, ever missionary. Bye bye.